Another very busy weather night across the same areas that got hit last night, and the same areas are going to get hit tomorrow and Saturday as well. Potentially catastrophic flash flooding and heavy rains and severe thunderstorms and tornadoes from northeast Texas northeastward through the lower Ohio Valley to Ohio. We've got gloom and doom for at least part of the weekend, if not all of it. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the weather coming up for next week, too, because it's going to be different than this week. And that's all tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which you can support if you use the Amazon link at the top of the chat board as your starter link to shop on Amazon. Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. And guess what? It doesn't cost you 1 extra cent. So it's a great way to support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. It keeps it commercial free from start to finish, except for the very beginning here. And we thank those of you who have done so. So 728 severe thunderstorm, tornado, and flash flood warnings were issued yesterday.
So it was a little busier than normal yesterday for
that overstaffed, underworked National Weather Service, Joe. They had to put out 728 warnings for that severe weather. And if somebody, I'm being sarcastic, okay, just so you know. But anyway, yes, they were kept very busy, and they are very busy again tonight. I can't. Oh, the other interesting statistic was, in spite, there were about 200 I think 298 tornado warnings that were issued. Okay. Rich Rothmansky pointing out that 728 number is the most since April of 2011. The number now, the final count of actual number of tornadoes is not in yet. It's going to take another day or two for them to go through all the data. So far, 40 tornadoes. And I was thinking about that and says, well, why so many warnings? And I'm thinking that, it's probably highly likely that a lot of those tornadoes were long-lived tornadoes. So, you had a warning for one county and the same tornado would jump to the next county. They'd have to put a separate warning up for that county and so on and so on. So that could be why we saw so many tornado warnings. And certainly from some of the videos that I saw online, I mean, some of those tornadoes just, were downright frightening.
Yeah, I saw a video on one news network, and showed a tornado that hit a preschool, and they showed you all of the toys, the children's toys that were scattered every which way, and then the camera turned upward, and there was no roof on the preschool. And when they interviewed one of the people in charge of the preschool and said, "How do you feel?" He said what the least likely thing that you would expected to come out of his mouth. He said, "Lucky." And the reason he said that was because all of this destruction took place in the middle of the night and not when the kids were there. If the kids had been there when all of this happened, it would have been a completely different story. But thankfully, it did happen. If it had to happen, thankfully it happened when nobody was around. But it was a very sad scene, seeing again all of the toys. You see a doll this way and what looks to be like a sandbox in another area, and it was Joel just scattered all over the place.
Yeah.
And again, no roof on the building. It was,
as a parent, I can't imagine. I just can't.
Yeah.
That's got to be, scary as all hell.
There was one on the CBS Evening News where they had a storm chaser. And they led into the story by saying he's been chasing storms all his life, but last night one caught up with him, and his house was totally demolished. But fortunately, he had the foresight to take himself, his wife, and their daughter out of harm's way and go to a shelter. Meanwhile, the tornado came in and through and just simply destroyed everything that he had.
All right. Well, thank God they're alive and safe, which is at the end of the day what matters. Everything else can be replaced. You you got insurance. That's what it's for. All right, we're going to go through everything that's going on tonight because it is another crazy night across Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, parts of Indiana, Illinois. It's just it's a very interesting from a meteorological perspective. The setup where you've got a strong frontal boundary that's not going anywhere, a mega southwest flow, and these strong waves that are developing and just moving along. They're going to have to wait till Sunday for any real improvement because there's yet another wave of low pressure that's going to be in the cards for Friday and another one for Saturday.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Meanwhile, we here in the Northeast are going to have a pretty terrible weekend, I think, especially Saturday. But again, no tornadoes, nothing severe, but still, it's going to be kind of a dank, dreary, chilly day on Saturday. Sunday, we
Gloom and doom.
yeah, well, that's what Joe likes to call them, folks. Scattered showers on Sunday, but at least it'll be warmer or milder. And come next week, it'll clear, but it's also going to turn. What else is new? Windy, especially so by Tuesday when we'll probably see winds again gusting somewhere in the 30 to 40 plus mile per hour range.
And
Incredible.
also cold. And also cold.
Oh,
I
yeah.
noticed on the digital forecast. I think was it. Let me just double check. I think it was for Wednesday. For Wednesday, most places don't get out of the 40s, and you don't even have to go too far north and west of the coast, where in some places it barely gets to 40.
It's not good. You're opening up the first weekend of April, and well, April showers, Joe. I guess that's the best way to
Yes,
define it.
exactly. Oh, I've been meaning to mention this to you the other day. First of all, I got to 81 degrees. This is my first 80-degree day here in North Georgia. Did you get to 80 last Saturday before the cold front went through?
We got to 79 here in
So I beat
Valley,
you.
but Central Park did get to 81 on
Okay,
Saturday.
but I beat you to 80, so that there's
Yes,
that. Last Sunday here, and I meant to mention this, and I don't suffer from allergies. I never have. Uh, they had a record pollen count, and I'm sure this has a lot of this has to do with the winter because I've mentioned the fact that everything around here in terms of you know the spring blooming and everything else is a good 3 weeks behind where it normally is. They had a record pollen count of over 14,000 in
well,
Atlanta last Sunday. So
whew,
the pollen here this year is pretty bad. But not quite here yet because we're still just putting the leaves out on the trees. But further south, it's pretty bad. Welcome to everybody on the chat board tonight. Welcome to those of you watching in the background on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. So after tonight, we're off the next 2 days. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And of course, if you like the show, what should they do if they like the show, Joe?
I think you should hit that little button, the button that says like.
Like,
Yes,
correct.
that's the
All
thing with
right. All right, I'm
the
sorry.
thumb up or whatever. Yeah.
No. All right, we're pretty quiet here up and down the East Coast from Maine to Florida, save for a few counties in northeastern New York where they have wind advisories up. But of course, again, today you can see the widespread area of flash flood watches that go from Oklahoma and northeast Texas clear up through Missouri into Indiana, Illinois, to go in order from west to east, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, into West Virginia, much of Kentucky, western Tennessee. The dark reds that you see are all flash flood warnings, and there are a ton of them across Tennessee, western and north central Tennessee, including Memphis and Nashville, in through central Kentucky. Also in parts of northeastern Kentucky into West Virginia. Now, it's a little hard to see the little orange boxes. There are a couple of them in there. There are a few tornado warnings in the mix because there are tornado watches that are up from northeast Texas through Arkansas, northernmost Louisiana, northernmost Mississippi, western and north central Tennessee, and I think even edging into parts of southern Kentucky. And we also have an area with a severe thunderstorm watch up in central into northwestern Arkansas. In New Mexico, winter storm watch is up for northeastern New Mexico, and we have a few advisories and a couple of counties with winter storm warnings in Montana and southern Montana, and in central North Dakota. And as we check out the lightning strikes tonight on the satellite loop, you can see where it's all active. And these thunderstorms are not as intense as they were yesterday from the standpoint of straight line winds and the number of tornadoes that they're producing. No, really, it's not anywhere close to yesterday. But on the other hand, they're getting tons and tons of rain, and a lot of this stuff is training here. So the same areas are just basically going from one thunderstorm cell to another.
It just got to be maddening to get so much rain, and normally after a day or so of that, things peter out or calm down. But to get it day after day after day, and to have the threat hanging over your home like the sword of Damocles of potential damaging winds or tornadoes. Yesterday was one day. Today is another day. We're going to have another one like that in the central part of the nation for tomorrow, and maybe even on Saturday as well. It really, if you have high blood pressure, this is not the place to live at this particular point in time.
And the clouds from this extend eastward across Pennsylvania into New England. We're kind of on the edge of a frontal boundary that is beginning to sink southward, and there could be some shower and thunderstorm activity with that. In fact, when we check the radar out, it's a little busy in the western half of Pennsylvania, even some heavier downpours there in the yellows that you see. And then, of course, take a look at all these green boxes that are up. I mean, I don't know how many there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 flash flood warnings are on 20. 20 flash flood warnings are up on the map right now. There are two tornado warnings in Tennessee, in central Tennessee. Now, it looks like not too far from Nashville either. And then you've got a couple of other severe thunderstorm watch warnings boxes that are popping up back into Arkansas. Also, a couple popping up in West Virginia and moving into Western Virginia. So that's kind of interesting. And the rain extends up into almost into northern Ohio, to Indianapolis and Indiana, and continuing to just kind of move along to the northeast. So, I put in that there could be a few showers or maybe even a rumble or two of thunder tonight into tomorrow morning.
Right. Well, we have a cold front locally that's going to be passing probably through the Hudson Valley around or soon after midnight. Actually, it's interesting. It looks like most of the showers with that front for us will be behind the frontal passage. And so I'm not thinking in terms of convection. I think we do have a shot of seeing some showers after midnight up until about maybe 6 or 7, at latest 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. And then high pressure, Joe, which looks like right now is over the Great Lakes, is going to move up towards central Quebec, but it will nose down just enough or ridge down just enough to allow enough dry air to clear the skies, at least partially, tomorrow afternoon. We should have at least partly sunny skies. It should be another unseasonably mild day. Normally, at this time of the year here in the Hudson Valley, we peak at about 56, 57. We could very well peak near 65 tomorrow afternoon with some sun. Tomorrow, in fact, probably, in my opinion, will be the nicest day locally that we're going to have out of the next 4 or 5. Because after tomorrow, Unfortunately, that front gets stalled somewhere down over South Jersey and then begins to come back as a warm front as a wave of low pressure on Saturday over the Ohio Valley moves up to western New York. We are going to get stuck in a swath of moisture, translating into clouds, some fog, periods of rain. The winds will be east southeast off the ocean, which means temperatures on Saturday, in contrast to tomorrow, where it'll be in the 60s, maybe only in the 40s tomorrow, on Saturday, I should say. Then the warm front lifts north of us on Saturday night. Sunday, we're in a wedge of milder air between the warm front to our north. Another cold front approaches from the west. Scattered showers on Sunday, temperatures in the 60s. The cold front moves on through. Monday, it looks like after some early showers, it begins to dry out, but it also turns unseasonably chilly, especially so for Tuesday into Wednesday. And also, by Tuesday into Wednesday, here comes the wind machine again. Once again, we'll be looking at winds northwesterly, sustained 15 to 20, maybe gusting to over 30 or 40 miles an hour. As we've been saying for quite a while now, this is one of the windier late winters and early springs that we have seen around here in quite a few years.
The Storm Prediction Center tonight has a large area of slight risk that goes from central Texas northeastward into West Virginia. They've actually pulled the risk down further south than where they had it yesterday, which was up into the Hudson Valley and into southern New England. Now, just the general thunderstorm line reaches up to about just north of Route 84. We've got a marginal risk for South Jersey, the southern half of New Jersey, southern Pennsylvania, and points southward. There's an enhanced risk that's in there. And of course, you've got the two tornado watches that are ongoing now, and the severe thunderstorm watch, which is in the blue. And you see the enhanced risk is sitting from northeast Texas, extreme southeastern Oklahoma, southern and central Arkansas, northwest Mississippi, into the western half of Tennessee, and that comes with a 10%, the narrow band of tornado risk tonight of 10% for EF2 to EF5s. Again, the tornadic activity is far less today than it was yesterday. Now, it may wind up, it's going to go up tomorrow. The Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow now has a moderate risk of severe weather northeast Texas into Arkansas, with the enhanced risk going around on either side, pushing up to the Missouri state line, the slight risk into southern Illinois and southwestern Indiana. And it should be pointed out, by the way, that yesterday, even in the slight risk areas, which were up in parts of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, they got tornadoes in there. So just because it says slight doesn't mean really slight. It's kind of I guess it's pretty difficult to come up with a word that indicates that it's not, marginal is okay, because you can just translate that to being isolated severe thunderstorms. Slight risk, kind of, to me, I don't know. I think in most people's minds, Joe, when they hear slight, they interpret that to mean extremely low chance, and it actually doesn't mean that.
The semantics, I agree with you. The semantics is different. And of course, what we have now was instituted uh, 3 or 4 years ago. Originally, on these maps, we only had three categories: slight, moderate, and high. And now we've broken it down into slight, marginal,
Enhanced,
excuse me, enhanced,
moderate,
and
and high.
moderate and high. So, but you're absolutely right. I mean, the fact that you're in slight as opposed to, let's say, a moderate risk of tornadic activity doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to see any tornadoes at all. You're still in line to get something, but again, it's hard to put into words.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the TV stations, we usually refer to it as, like, marginal would be level one,
Right.
slight is level two, enhanced three, moderate four, and high risk five. Maybe that works a little better. I don't know, but
Kind of along the
nonetheless,
lines of a Saffir-Simpson scale or whatever.
yeah, nonetheless, we've got another area of moderate risk for tomorrow. and the tornado risk is 15% in that moderate risk zone, and 10% surrounding that. The hatched area means that there is EF2 to EF5 tornado risk. And here we are, day three is actually it's Louisiana, East Texas, Western Mississippi, and much of central and southern Arkansas in enhanced risk. And the slight risk fingers all the way up to Kentucky and southern Ohio, marginal risk that reaches into western Pennsylvania. And we had, let me make see, I'm sure we still have it. There's a day four risk, and that day four risk is for Alabama and Georgia and the Florida Panhandle. So an implied slight risk in the day four long range. WPC, and they've been describing this as a potential for catastrophic and historic flooding. The rest of tonight, you see where it's a moderate to high risk from Arkansas into Kentucky, and of course you've seen all the flash flood warnings that are up, so it's certainly playing out according to plan. They actually have a marginal risk going up into northern New Jersey to about New York City, but that's a 5 to 15% chance. And judging from the radar, I don't think this is going to be a flash flooding problem for eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. Now tomorrow, they have a high risk again. Southeast Oklahoma across Arkansas to southern Missouri, moderate risk into southern Illinois, slight risk into western Ohio. And they again describe it as life threatening flash flooding expected Friday afternoon through Saturday. And then as we go to day three, once again, high risk. Arkansas to western Tennessee, southeast Missouri, and Kentucky. These people, they can't wait till Sunday. And again, describing this as a high risk of excessive rainfall, life threatening flash flooding is expected Saturday afternoon through Sunday. Um, and, I don't know how much rain has fallen, but starting from 8 o'clock tonight, there's still a band of 7 to 10 inches on top of what's already fallen. And you got to think that with all these flash flood warnings up, that those areas have had at least 3 or 4 inches of rain since yesterday.
Well, I'm looking here at the list of states. In Arkansas, they've declared a state of emergency. In Tennessee, Governor Bill Lee has declared a state of emergency. Kentucky, Governor Andy Breshar has declared a state of emergency. In Oklahoma, the governor there has declared or has issued a state of emergency. Other states not explicitly declaring a state of disaster. There are other states like Missouri, Indiana, and Illinois that have experienced severe weather and severe damage from tornadoes. So I'm wondering, I mean, we often hear in the wake of a hurricane moving through about all the devastation, the destruction, and how FEMA and the Red Cross are, sending, aid to these places. I haven't really heard anything like that. I've seen the pictures, I've seen the disasters that have gone on in some of these states, and all of this, the homes that have been destroyed. But I'm wondering, what's going on in terms of, getting aid
Yeah.
from
Well,
the
I mean,
government.
it just happened, so I assume that I honestly I don't know the answer to your question, but since this all happened yesterday, that yesterday was the first day. Um, I'm guessing that that's probably why we haven't heard about it yet. So, uh, but nonetheless, they got much more rainfall to go. But by the time this is all said and done, uh, you know, southeast Oklahoma, northeast Texas, much of Arkansas, western Tennessee, Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Illinois, southern and southeast Missouri. A lot of those areas are going to finish up with a foot or more of rain out of this. I mean, we're talking about really
And I mean, it's ridiculous.
excessive, excessive flooding.
And all right, I never had, no, I shouldn't say that. In the 23 years I've lived here, we did have a foot of rain with Hurricane Irene. And on the side of my house, there was an area of dirt that came on down. It was like a mudslide. And I've had cases, in fact, a couple of years ago, I had a case where my basement got flooded because I got 9 inches of rain in 3 hours. So I know what water and rain can do. And when you get this much rain and it just keeps coming over and over and over again, it must be an incredibly, if not devastating in terms of money value, devastating to your well-being. It's an unbelievable thing to try to put into words here,
Well,
but
it's a long duration event too. I mean, when we see those events that happen in with hurricanes in the Northeast or tropical remnant hurricanes or tropical storms, I mean, you go through it and then it's over with. You know, it's 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is, and you're done. We're talking 4 days here because this started yesterday. So they got tomorrow, today, and now today's day two, Friday's day three, and Saturday's day four. And it's not just one localized area here. We're talking, it's huge area geographically. It's the same place every single day. That's made this. You got yeah. If you're sitting at home, if you're sitting in a home there and you're thinking like, oh my God, when is this ever going to stop? You're right. It's
you
emotionally, it's got to, really take a toll on you.
it is. It's terrible. And the scenario that we've been discussing for the better part of the last 30 minutes in terms of the weather setup doesn't seem like it's, as you just said a few moments ago, maybe Sunday, if those folks down there will finally get a bit of a break. I'm wondering, though, Joe, whether we should just, put an end to our discussion here about weather, because it seems like more than half of the people on the chat board aren't discussing weather. They seem to be discussing politics.
Oh well, we'll let them discuss. What can I tell you? I know they're
I don't
they're
know.
they're they're going back and talking about Jimmy Carter and it's 1980, Contino, not 82. Um, when Ted Kennedy ran a primary against Jimmy Carter, and also in '76. Anyway, here we go. Here's our system for tonight. Front plays through. The next one loads up for tomorrow. You see it there on the GFS. You see that and of very heavy rain, and it gets even heavier going into tomorrow night. That's another thing with this too. A lot of the severe weather that's been happening has been coming in at nighttime. You get the stuff in the evening, but we've seen this stuff, all last night they were getting severe thunderstorms and tornadoes into this morning. And that's going to happen again late Friday night into Saturday morning. And then the last low comes out on Saturday, and you see it there clobbering Northeast Texas and particularly Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas just gets totally wiped out with this. And then eventually a low does finally pull east Sunday morning, and the rains come to an end by Sunday morning, maybe a little bit of leftover stuff, and even some snows being indicated by the GFS in parts of Missouri and into northeastern Oklahoma. And then the low on this model kind of slides southeastward. I kind of think the European might have a bit of a better idea here with it. It pushes same thing. I mean, just clobbers, and European seems to be much better showing all this convective activity. There it is. I mean, look at that for Saturday in Arkansas and Oklahoma. That's awful. And then the whole weather system translates eastward. As far as you see, the warm front goes by on Saturday or tries to go by, but has a really tough time because it's pinned down into southern Delaware and over the Delmarva Peninsula, and there's rain across Pennsylvania to southern New England and even a little bit over northern New Jersey and New York City. And then you get the warm front tries to push northward on Sunday before the cold front arrives, and you get into showers and again maybe even a rumble or two of thunder Sunday afternoon and evening until the front finally pushes far enough offshore on Monday. And then here comes cold air, little push on Monday, and then colder air comes in. There's a low that drops through the Great Lakes with a trailing front and an upper trough that goes with it. And these are pretty low thicknesses for April the 8th, 516 thickness uh, in the into northeastern Pennsylvania, 522 thickness to New York, and the cool air goes all the way down the coast, and it's just dry. The one upside to next week is that at least for the first few days of next week, there's not much as far as severe weather is concerned. But at the end of next week, some kind of low with some energy dropping down from the north forms in the Tennessee Valley and gets into the Appalachians and then starts to lift an arm of moisture up next weekend with a coastal low. Uh, Both the GFS and the Europeans seem to be on this idea here. We'll see if that holds. But for now, the signature, I think, for next week just basically is going to be cold and mostly dry.
Right. If we do get any kind of significant precip, aside from the leftover or lingering precip early Monday, as you pointed out, the next round of possible precipitation may wait until the end of the week with that next system, which may, I put that word in quote marks, may try to evolve into a coastal system. And if it doesn't evolve into a coastal system, it'll probably do what all the others did this winter, and that is go mostly north south. We'll
Yeah,
see.
exactly. All right, let's do a little Briller Jeopardy and wrap it up for the week, shall we?
Yes, and I do have Briller Jeopardy, and if you just give me a few seconds here, I will bring that up, and then we can proceed. Yes, here we are. So we're going to finish the last in the series of April average high temperatures, and I'm wondering one of these questions or one of these cities. I think we already did, but let me, hang on for a second.
Oh, we'll do it again and I'll get it wrong.
Oh
I'll make
no, no, one of them. No, I'm confusing. We did low temperatures, and now we're going to do the high
the
temperatures.
high temperatures.
So number one is Minneapolis.
Oh, God. I hate this. Um, 44.
What was the high temperature?
44.
44. You were correct with double numbers, but unfortunately, you're way too low.
Oh,
At least
okay. So then it's double nickels. It's 55.
it's 55. That is correct.
Okay.
55. Now, speaking of doubles, here's New Orleans
For April,
for April. Average high temperature in April for New Orleans.
I'll say 77.
WABC. Yes. Yes. I did throw a hint at you when I said another double, didn't I?
No, I
Um,
didn't even hear you say that. Is it
oh,
77?
well, yes. Yes.
Oh, oh, okay.
Ring a ding to you,
Ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Joe. There you are.
Maggie P
Number
got
three.
it.
Number three on the list, represented by TF Green Airport, lovely Providence, Rhode Island.
Uh, Hold on. I'll say 60.
Joe, Snake Country for you.
Adam Lowe says 59.
Adam Lowe, ringing the
And
bell
Steve
for you.
Lapointe says 59.
And Steve
And
Lapointe, too.
Tyler Fienga said 59. And James Davidson didn't say 59. William Uber did, though. Go on.
Number four is Richmond, Virginia.
Hmm. Richmond, I'll say 72.
Close, a little on the warm side. Rothmansky said 71. He's even closer. In fact, he's in Snake Country with that 71.
All right, so we know where that's going. So
Yeah.
70 for Tyler Fienga and Vincent Croce. 70.
And Norm Roberts, too. And Mike Waterhouse Bonsai.
Bullseye.
Sunday. Yes. Ring for that. How about Jack Benny's favorite, Rochester?
39. No. Um, oh God, Rochester. Trying to remember, what did we say for Buffalo yesterday? Uh,
You had Buffalo yesterday. The
yeah,
answer
I
that is.
did. 55?
Are you saying that for Rochester?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we already had 55 for Minneapolis, but that still puts you very close. Once
Okay.
again, mistake, it would have bit you, Joe.
Frank R said 56.
And there you are, Frank. You got it, Rochester. All right, boss. How about the bonus question, Burlington? Burlington,
Burlington. Vermont?
yes. Well, where else
Uh,
would Burlington?
I don't know. Um, I'll say I don't know. I'm for April. And, it gets warm up there sometimes, so in the spring too. I'll say 49.
Not quite high enough, believe it or not.
Really, I was eventually going to say 51 or 52, but then I went with 49.
Well, you should
Um,
have gone with one of the. You should have gone with the latter.
CWTR CWTR Shark said 53,
Oh, that's a little too high.
and
That's
Frank
closer.
R said 52.
And there you go, Frank
Okay.
R. 52. And there you go, Joe.
Any plans for the weekend?
Yes, tomorrow I'm leaving for the. And if any of you are in the tri-state area, this and are interested in astronomy or aerospace or space in general, um, it's the Northeast Astronomy Forum at Rockland Community College. This is an amazing event, Joe. Over a span of 2 days, somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000 people converge on the college. The gymnasium is turned. If you want anything astronomical, if you want a telescope, binoculars, cameras, tripods, IP, anything, it'll be in that gymnasium. There's like over 100 different vendors that are going to offer all kinds of stuff, and the speakers are going to be fabulous. And I am honored to be one of the MCs, and I will be doing the opening remarks tomorrow. And we've got some amazing people. Peter King, not the politician, but Peter King, the correspondent for CBS News Radio, who is often in the big chair doing the news in the mornings on the World News Roundup and also covers space launches for CBS. He's going to be there. We're also going to have a couple of astronauts. We're going to have the only, excuse me, the first woman pilot of a space shuttle and also the first woman commander of a space shuttle. That'll be Eileen Collins. She'll be there on Saturday. And on
Oh,
Sunday,
nice.
we're going to have Hoot Gibson, believe it or not the cowboy, but Hoot Gibson, who is a veteran of not one, not two, not three, but 5 different shuttle missions. And he's going to be there as well. They both have books. They're going to be signing their books if you're interested and coming on down. And also, and this really blows my mind, we're going to have Jerry Griffith. And that may not be a name that may be familiar to all of you, but it's he's an amazing person. He joined NASA in 1964 as a flight controller. By 1968, he was a mission control flight director, and he served in that role for all of the Apollo crewed missions, including all 9 that went out to the moon, 6 of which had lunar landings. And it was his team, the Gold Team, that was scheduled to conduct the landing of Apollo 13. But when the landing was canceled, that of course was the one that they did the movie on.
Right.
When that command module, the service module, blew up, it was Jerry Griffin's team that played a major role in the safe return of the astronauts. And he retired from NASA in 1986. But an amazing person who was, one of the big cheeses at NASA during the time of the Apollo moon mission. So we've got astronauts, we've got flight directors, we've got top A reporters. So if you are in the neighborhood of Rockland Community College Saturday and Sunday, come on down. I promise you will not be. And considering the weather is going to be so
Why
lousy,
not?
might come on down, hear some great lectures, and maybe spend a little money, if you still have any money after today, on equipment for your camera, for tripods, whatever. You'll find it at the Northeast Astronomy Forum. So I'm going to be pretty busy over the next couple of days over there, Joe.
All right. Tom Contino, maybe Sunday. I do have a I do have a stock market trivia question I can ask, and I'll save it for Sunday. So remind me if you're watching on Sunday, and we'll see everybody then Sunday at 7:35. Good night.
Good night, all.